If MX Simulator was as easy to play as any game in the MX vs. ATV series, it wouldn't be a simulator, would it? One of the biggest turnoffs about this game is the lack of ability, or rather the lack of understanding, on how to keep the rider from falling over constantly. Welcome to another MX Simulator tutorial video, and today we'll be helping you better understand leaning. As basic of a concept that leaning is, it might be considered the hardest thing to master in MX Simulator. We've done tutorials for cornering in both Supercross and Motocross, but if you're not sure how to put those processes in action just yet, perhaps this tutorial will help you out. Our first recommendation is to get rid of that silly little lean indicator. It's a visual imperative when playing, and while the indicator turning red is supposed to be a warning that you are in danger of losing traction, you can see here that it is quite easy to push the lean angle beyond its limits. Adjusting your stability settings will make the ability to turn harder and quicker much easier. We recommend ignoring your advanced if you are a beginner and starting at a higher stability, let's say in the 60s to 70s, to learn the basics of balancing. Lastly, the simple step that everyone forgets, turn off arcade physics. It's likely that you are playing the game to do whips. Am I right? Well, arcade physics makes that impossible as you just lean in the air instead. Plus, how stupid does this look? What? Most people know to turn arcade off? So I was the only one to leave it on for 2 weeks, not knowing I wasn't playing with sim physics? Well, crap. What even is reverse steering? Well, in MX Simulator, it's when the rider turns the bars in the opposite direction of a corner in order to initiate a lean. Since the rider has no movement itself, the bike is the gyro point that needs to be moved into the right place. That's why the bars are turned away from your whip when you take off. Personally, I've always felt that MotoGP riders demonstrate this effect the best. Watch here as two-time MotoGP World Champion Marc Marquez demonstrates. As he begins leaning in for the next corner, he has also slightly turned the bars away from the corner entry. So when the wheel makes contact with the ground again, it helps him lean the bike over quicker. While it may be confusing, it is simple to understand that at speed, the bike will lean and turn in the direction that you move the stick with reverse steering on. While stationary, the bars will turn the opposite direction of the joystick input. Conversely, reverse steering off will mean that you have to lean the stick in the opposite direction to that which you want to turn in order to turn the correct way. Even though when stationary, the bars will turn the correct way in relation to your joystick inputs. Yeah, seems a little weird, we know. Something that always trips up new sim players is the concept that you have to stand the bike back up once exiting a corner. The arcade-type console games will do it for you automatically, but this is a simulator. On top of that, once leaned over, there is no need to keep trying to lean further by holding the stick in the direction you are turning. That's why, as you see here, the stick remains pretty neutral in the corners, omitting subtle corrections that are being made. This game will give your fingers a workout. You have to be very precise with your movements on the joystick, and even that doesn't guarantee it'll always be right. But if you can keep a steady hand while riding instead of trying to overdo your cornering by leaning too hard, you will learn how to play the game a lot quicker. Just remember, pay attention to your stability. If you feel you are struggling with tight corners but are good everywhere else, you can always lower your stability. If you seem to be sliding out a lot, raise your stability back up to a level that you find comfortable. Eventually, your hands will get used to the feeling and become muscle memory. But as with everything in MX Simulator, it will take time.